welcome back to Bedtime Stories for Adults. I am so glad you've joined us tonight. Before we begin, settle into your pillows, let your shoulders drop, and leave the weight of the day behind. Tonight, we journey to the heart of ancient Rome, to find the quiet wisdom of a calm mind. Close your eyes. Take one slow breath in through your nose, hold it gently, and let it go. Again. In. And out. Good. You are safe here. There is nowhere you need to be. Nothing you need to do. The world beyond this moment can wait. It is late. Later than late, in fact, that deep, velvet hour of the night when even the stars seem to have grown still, when the city beyond the hills has finally quieted itself. You are standing at the edge of a Roman villa. Not just any villa. This one sits on the Palatine Hill, where the air is a little cooler than the streets below, a little cleaner, carried on a wind that moves so softly through the cypress trees that you almost wonder if you imagined it. You are barefoot. Notice that first, the sensation beneath your feet. The marble floor is cool against your soles, not cold, not sharp, just cool. The way a smooth stone beside a river feels when you press your palm to it on a summer afternoon. There is a solidity to it, an ancientness, as though the stone remembers every foot that has ever crossed it, and holds that memory quietly, without judgment. You stand still for a moment, just breathing, just feeling the floor beneath you. And then, slowly, you begin to walk. The hallway ahead is long. Tall marble columns rise on your left, their pale surfaces catching the faintest silver of moonlight that spills in from the open courtyard beyond. Each column stands like a patient sentinel, calm, unmoved, as though it has been standing here since before worry was invented, and intends to go on standing long after the last worry is forgotten. Between the columns, the night air drifts in gently. You feel it against your forearm, against the side of your neck. Cool and faintly scented. Olive oil. Yes, there it is. That warm, golden scent of the oil lamps burning in small alcoves along the inner wall, little clay lamps, no bigger than your cupped hand, their flames barely moving in the still air. Each one throws a small amber circle of light against the stone wall behind it, and the shadows between them are soft, not dark, not threatening, just quiet. Restful. The way a room feels after the candles have been lit and the door has been closed against the evening. You walk slowly between the light and the shadow. Step. 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 The sound of your feet on the marble is barely a whisper. On your shoulders, you feel the weight of a simple woolen toga. Heavy, in the most comforting way. It settles across your back the way a familiar blanket does, the kind that carries warmth in its very weight, the kind that seems to say, "You can rest now." The wool is fine but substantial, and it smells faintly of cedar and clean air and something older, something that belongs entirely to this place, and this hour. You pull it gently around yourself. And you keep walking. Into the quiet. Into the dark. Into the soft, ancient stillness of this night. The hallway opens ahead of you into a wider passage. And here, the columns grow taller. They rise up into the darkness above you, their capitals lost in shadow, and you tilt your head back, just slightly, and look upward, and the ceiling is dark and high and somehow vast. Like looking up into a sky. Like standing at the bottom of something enormous and realizing, with a strange sense of peace, how very small you are. Not small in a frightening way. Small in the way that makes things simpler. Small in the way that reminds you that not everything is yours to carry. You breathe that feeling in, and let it settle somewhere behind your ribs. From somewhere beyond the columns, from the open courtyard to your left, you hear it. Water. A fountain, stone and low and ancient, set at the center of the courtyard garden, where small trimmed hedges of rosemary and myrtle grow in neat rows around it. The water falls in a steady, unhurried rhythm, not loud, never loud, just a soft, continuous murmur. A sound that has no beginning and no end. A sound that asks nothing of you. PLSH. 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 You slow your steps. You let the sound find you, rather than chasing after it. And you realize that your breathing has already begun to match it, without you deciding to make it so. Your lungs are simply following. As if the body knows something the mind is still learning. That peace is not a destination you arrive at, but a current you allow yourself to be carried by. The fountain murmurs on. The lamps glow their small, warm gold in their alcoves. The marble holds you cool and steady underfoot. And ahead of you, at the far end of this long, still hallway, you can see a door. It is slightly ajar. A thread of warm light spills from beneath it, and from the narrow gap at its edge. Just a sliver of amber, the kind of light that means someone has been sitting in a room with a lamp for a very long time. Thinking. Or perhaps not thinking at all. You move toward it. Slowly. One step. Then another. The cypress trees lean imperceptibly in the night breeze beyond the columns. And the marble carries you forward, cool and certain. Step by quiet step. You reach the door. You rest your fingertips against the wood, and it is warm, warm from the lamplight burning on the other side, warm in a way that feels almost like a welcome. You breathe in once more. The olive oil, the cedar, the cool night air mixing now with something warmer, something like parchment, like ink, like the particular stillness of a room where someone has been writing down their truest thoughts for a very long time. You close your eyes for just a moment. And you listen. The fountain. PLSH, PLSH, PLSH. The faint breath of the cypress trees. The soft, steady burn of the lamp beyond the door. Everything is still. Everything is patient. Everything is waiting. Not with urgency, but with the quiet confidence of things that know they do not need to rush. And gently, very gently, you push the door open. The room is small. Smaller than you expected for an emperor. And that, somehow, makes it feel more honest. There is no throne here. No gold. No marble busts gazing down with cold, important eyes. Just a low wooden desk, worn smooth at its edges from years of resting arms and thinking hands, a single oil lamp burning at its corner, its flame so steady it seems almost to be holding its breath, and beside it, a small clay cup, still faintly steaming. Someone was just here. Or perhaps, in some way that makes a quiet kind of sense, someone still is. You step inside. The floor here is covered with a simple woven rug, dark red and deep blue, and your feet sink into it gratefully after the cool marble of the hallway. The warmth of the lamp reaches you immediately, wrapping around your shoulders like a second layer over the wool toga, gentle and immediate and kind. You stand very still for a moment, just taking it in. The walls are lined with wooden shelves, and on those shelves, scrolls. Dozens of them. Each one rolled carefully and resting on its side, some tied with simple cord, some worn at their edges, their papyrus darkened with age and handling. These are not decorative. These are read. Read and reread and read again, on difficult mornings, and restless nights, and long afternoons when the weight of an empire pressed down on one man's shoulders and he needed to find something. Something steady. Something true. You reach out and let your fingertips graze the edge of one scroll. And it is cool, and slightly rough, and absolutely real beneath your touch. But it is not the scrolls on the shelves that draw your eye. It is the open journal on the desk. It lies there in the lamplight, its pages filled with a careful, unhurried hand, line after line of quiet words written not for an audience, not for history, not for anyone at all, but for the simple, necessary act of a man trying to understand himself. You move closer. The lamp flame does not flicker. The fountain murmurs on, somewhere beyond the window. PLSH. 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 And you lean forward, just slightly, and begin to read. The first words are simple. Almost startlingly so. They do not announce themselves. They do not demand anything of you. They simply begin. The way a quiet conversation begins between two people who already trust each other. You have power over your mind, the journal reads, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You read the words again. More slowly this time. You have power over your mind, not outside events. And something in your chest, something that has been quietly clenched all day without you quite noticing, begins, very gently, to loosen. You pull the small wooden chair from beneath the desk, and you sit. Not formally, not carefully. You simply lower yourself into it the way you lower yourself into rest at the end of a very long day, slowly, gratefully, with the particular relief of a body that has been carrying itself upright for too many hours and is finally, allowed to soften. The chair is solid beneath you. The lamp is warm beside you. And the journal lies open, waiting. You look back down at the page. The handwriting is unhurried. Each letter formed with care, not the rushed scratch of someone trying to capture a fleeting thought, but the steady, deliberate mark of someone who has sat with a thought long enough to understand it before committing it to the page. You find yourself breathing more slowly just looking at it. as if the patience in the handwriting is contagious, as if stillness can be passed from one person to another across centuries, simply through the careful formation of letters on a page. You read on, and the next words rise up to meet you gently. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. You sit with that for a moment. What stands in the way becomes the way. You think, without meaning to, of something in your own life, some obstacle that has been sitting at the edge of your thoughts today, some difficulty that has felt heavy and immovable and deeply, frustratingly in the way. And for just a moment, you consider it differently. Not as a wall, but as a door. Not as something that has stopped you, but as something that is quietly, patiently, showing you a direction you had not yet thought to look. You breathe in, and the lamp flame holds perfectly still, and the fountain murmurs on beyond the window. PLSH, PLSH, PLSH. And the thought settles into you not with force, but with the gentle certainty of something that has always been true, and was simply waiting for a quiet enough moment for you to hear it. You turn the page, carefully, slowly. The papyrus is cool and slightly rough beneath your fingers, and it makes the softest sound as it moves, like a single breath. And on the next page, near the top, written slightly larger than the lines around it as though the man who wrote it wanted to be sure you would see it first thing in the morning. These words: confine yourself to the present. Just that. Confine yourself to the present. You close your eyes. The present is the lamp beside you. The present is the wool on your shoulders. The present is the fountain. PLSH, PLSH, PLSH. The present is this breath. In and out. The present is this chair, solid beneath you. This room, warm around you. This moment, which asks nothing of you except that you be here inside it. Fully. Quietly. Without reaching backward into yesterday. Or forward into tomorrow. Just here. Just now. Just this. The lamp beside you flickers once. Just once. As though the villa itself has taken a slow, deep breath. And then the flame steadies again, burning its small, warm gold into the quiet of the room, and everything is still. You look down at the journal. And you read. Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word, or lose your self-respect. You read it again. Slowly. Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word, or lose your self-respect. There is something deeply restful about that sentence. Not because it is easy, but because it is clear. In a world that so often feels complicated, layered with expectations and obligations and the noise of other people's opinions, here is something simple. Something you can hold in your hand like a smooth stone and carry with you quietly. A compass that fits in your pocket. You think of the times you have felt most at peace with yourself. Not the loudest moments, not the most impressive ones, but the quiet ones. the ones where you acted in a way that matched something deep and unhurried inside you. Where you did the thing that was true, even when a faster or easier thing was available. And you remember how that felt. That quiet, private steadiness. That sense of being intact. You lean back slightly in the chair. The wool toga shifts around your shoulders. And you look up at the ceiling of the study, low and warm and shadowed at its edges, and you let your eyes rest there for a moment, unfocused, soft. The fountain reaches you from outside. PLSH. 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 Steady as a heartbeat. After a while, you look back down, and you find these words waiting for you. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. You pause. That is not what you expected from a man known for his wisdom. But then you read on. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good, and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own. And then the last part. And so none of them can hurt me. For no one can implicate me in ugliness. Nor can I feel angry at my brother or fall foul of him. For we are made for cooperation. You sit very still. We are made for cooperation. You think of the people in your life, the difficult ones, the ones who have taken up space in your thoughts today, and something shifts, almost imperceptibly. Not into naivety. Not into pretending that difficulty is not difficult. But into something wider. Something that has room enough in it for both the difficulty and the compassion. Both the frustration and the understanding. And you feel, very gently, the particular relief of putting down something heavy you had not quite realized you were still holding. The lamp burns on. The fountain murmurs. And the night deepens around the villa, soft and patient and entirely unhurried. Just like you. Right now. In this moment. Are allowed to be. You turn another page. The papyrus whispers beneath your fingers. And you settle deeper into the chair, your shoulders dropping, your breath coming slower now, slower and easier, as though this room, this lamp, this quiet Roman night has been gradually, gently, teaching your body how to release what it no longer needs to hold. And it has been listening. You read. Do not indulge in dreams of what you do not have, but count up the greatest of the blessings you do possess, and then recall how eagerly they would have been sought if you did not have them. You lower the journal for a moment. Just slightly. And you let that settle. Count up the greatest of the blessings you do possess. You think of something simple. Something so familiar that most days you move past it without a second thought. The warmth of a bed. The sound of breathing beside you in the dark, or the particular quiet of a space that is entirely your own. The fact that your body carried you through today. That somewhere in the day there was at least one moment, however brief, of something good. Something warm. Something that, if you had not had it, you would have wished for deeply. You hold that thought. Not forcing it into gratitude. Not manufacturing a feeling that isn't there. Just noticing. The way you might notice the lamp beside you, which has been burning warmly this whole time without you once stopping to appreciate its light. It was always there. You simply looked up. The fountain murmurs on outside. PLSH. 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 And the cypress trees shift almost imperceptibly in the night breeze beyond the window, their dark shapes moving slowly against the deep blue of the sky, calm and unhurried as everything else in this ancient, patient place. You look at them for a moment. Those trees, standing in the dark without distress, simply being what they are, in the place where they are, in the hour that has been given to them. You look back at the journal, and near the bottom of the page, almost as if placed there specifically for this hour, for this kind of tiredness, for the particular weight that settles into a person at the end of a long and complicated day, you find these words: receive without pride, relinquish without struggle. Just that. 6 words. Receive without pride, relinquish without struggle. Receive the good things that come to you, without clutching them so tightly that their loss undoes you. And release the things that leave, without fighting so hard against their going that you exhaust yourself in the struggle. Both the holding and the letting go. Done gently. Done with open hands. You look down at your own hands resting in your lap. And slowly, very slowly, you turn them palm upward. Open. Relaxed. And something in that small, simple gesture moves through you like a breath. Like the night air through the columns of the hallway beyond this door. Cool and clean and quietly. Freeing. The night has deepened around the villa. You can feel it. Not as darkness, not as anything cold or uncertain, but as a kind of fullness. The way the night feels when it has settled completely into itself, when the last trace of the day is finally, gently, let go. And you are here inside it. Warm. Still. Held. You turn another page of the journal. And you read. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. You stay with that for a long moment. The quality of your thoughts. Not the quality of your circumstances. Not the size of your house or the state of your work or the opinions of the people around you. But the quality of your thoughts. You consider the thoughts that have moved through you today. Not with judgment. Not with the sharp, unkind eye that so easily turns inward at the end of a long day and begins to catalog every mistake, every misstep, every moment that did not go the way you had hoped. But with something quieter than that. Something more like curiosity. Which of your thoughts today served you? And which ones were simply habits? Old, familiar patterns of worry or comparison or self-criticism that arrived not because they were useful, but simply because they always do. Because the mind, left without direction, will often return to what it knows, even when what it knows is not what it needs. The lamp beside you is burned lower now. Its flame still steady, still warm, but gentler than before. As if even the light in this room is slowly, naturally, easing toward rest. And you feel it too. That easing. That gradual, Welcome softening at the edges of your thoughts. The way the mind begins to loosen its grip on the day. Not all at once, but page by page, breath by breath. You read on. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Yes, you read that one before, at the beginning. But it lands differently now. Now, after sitting in this room for a while, after letting the lamp warm you and the fountain steady you and the quiet of these ancient walls hold you, it lands not as instruction, but as permission. Permission to stop pulling at the threads of things you cannot change. Permission to set down the mental rehearsals of conversations not yet had. Permission to release your grip on outcomes that were never entirely yours to control. You have power over your mind. And right now, in this moment, you are choosing to use that power gently, to turn it not toward worry, but toward rest. Not toward tomorrow, but toward now. This breath, this warmth, this lamp, this quiet. Outside, the fountain continues its soft, endless conversation with the night. PLSH. 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 And the villa breathes around you. Ancient and unhurried, as if it has seen 1,000 tired souls find their way to stillness within these walls, and is perfectly content to hold one more. You close your eyes for a moment, just a moment, the journal resting in your lap, the lamp warm at your side, the fountain threading its soft sound through the window and into the room like a ribbon of quiet. PLSH. 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 And you simply breathe. In and out. In and out. There is nothing to solve right now. Nothing to plan. Nothing to fix or finish or figure out. There is only this breath. And then the next one. And the extraordinary, easily overlooked miracle of a body that keeps breathing on your behalf, without effort, without instruction, simply because it loves you enough to keep going even when you have forgotten to pay attention to it. After a while, you open your eyes, and you look back down at the page, and you find these words. Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what is left and live it properly. You pause. That one lands with unexpected weight. Not morbidly, not with any darkness, but with a strange and clarifying lightness. As if someone has just quietly removed a blindfold you had grown so accustomed to wearing that you have forgotten it was there. Take what is left and live it properly. What would that mean for you? If you truly believed, in the quiet of this moment, that what matters is not what has already passed, not the years behind you with their regrets and their unfinished things and their moments you wish you could revisit. But what is left? This breath. This night. Tomorrow morning. The people you will see. The small choices you will make. The moments you will either be present for, or let slide past while you were somewhere else in your mind. Take what is left. And you realize, sitting here in the warm lamplight of this ancient study, that what is left is not a small thing. It is everything that has not yet happened. which is to say, it is vast. The flame beside you dips once, recovers, and burns on. You turn the page, and you read. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. You read that again. More slowly. You will meet it, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Everything you have faced before, you have faced. Every difficult day that has arrived, certain and immovable on the horizon, you have walked into. And you have walked through. Not always gracefully. Not always without cost. But through. And the person sitting in this chair tonight, reading these words in this warm and quiet room, is the proof of that. You are here. Which means every hard thing that came before this moment did not finish you. It brought you here. To this lamp. To this stillness. To this page. To this breath. The rosemary in the courtyard garden releases its scent on a slow drift of night air through the window. Cool and green and clean. And you breathe it in, letting it move through you like a small, quiet gift from the night. From the garden. From this ancient place that has held so much human struggle and human wisdom within its walls. And chosen, tonight, to share a little of both. With you. Great data. Direct hit. Updated math. 8 chunks equals 36 minutes 52 seconds. Average per chunk equals 4 minutes 36 seconds. Remaining needed equals at least 13 minutes 8 seconds to hit 50 minutes. That means we need 3 more chunks. Chunks 9, 10, 11. 3 times 4 minutes 36 seconds equals 13 minutes 48 seconds. Total equals 50 minutes 40 seconds. White heavy check mark. Perfect. Here is chunk 9. The night has grown very still now. The kind of still that only arrives in the deepest hours, when the world has finally exhausted its noise and settled, at last, into itself. And you are here inside that stillness. Not apart from it, but woven into it. As natural and necessary as the lamp, as the fountain, as the slow breath of the cypress trees beyond the window. You look down at the journal, and you read. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, and do so with all your heart. You sit with that for a long while. Love the people with whom fate brings you together. You think of the faces of the people in your life. Not in an anxious way, not cataloging what is unresolved or unsaid, but simply seeing them. The way you might look at a familiar painting in a room you have walked through 1,000 times, and suddenly, one quiet evening, actually see it. The particular way one person laughs. The way another one always asks if you have eaten. The small, unannounced kindnesses that arrive so regularly you have perhaps stopped registering them as kindnesses at all, and have simply filed them under ordinary, when in truth, they are anything but. You breathe in, and something soft moves through your chest. Not sadness, not longing, something warmer than both. Something that feels, in this quiet room, in this late hour, very much like gratitude. the lamp flickers gently, and the fountain murmurs its endless patient rhythm beyond the window. PLSH. 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 And you think of Marcus Aurelius sitting in a room not unlike this one, perhaps at this very desk, writing these words not as a philosopher performing wisdom for an audience, but as a man. A tired, complicated, genuinely trying man, writing notes to himself in the dark, reminding himself of what he already knew but kept forgetting. The way we all do. The way you do. The way everyone who has ever tried to live carefully and kindly in a world that does not always make that easy has done. And there is something deeply, quietly comforting in that. That the man who ruled the known world still had to remind himself to be patient. Still had to write down, in his own private journal, the things he needed to hear. Still struggled. Still reached. Still tried. Just like you. You closed the journal softly, your hands resting on its cover, feeling the texture of it beneath your palms. Cool and real and ancient. And you sit for a moment in the particular peace of having read something true. Something that asked nothing of you except your attention, and gave back, in return, a little more room to breathe, a little more gentleness toward yourself, a little more willingness to meet tomorrow, not with your fists raised, but with your hands open. Outside, the courtyard garden is silver and still in the moonlight. The rosemary and myrtle standing quietly in their neat rows. The fountain at the center sending its soft voice up into the night air. PLSH. 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 And somewhere beyond the villa walls, the city sleeps. All that noise, all that motion, all that urgency. Resting now. Temporarily return to stillness. As everything eventually is. As you. Right now. Are. You rise from the chair. Slowly. The way you rise when you have been somewhere good and are not quite ready to leave it, but know, with a quiet and accepting part of yourself, that the time has come. You push the chair back gently beneath the desk. And you look at the journal one last time. Lying there in the lamplight. Its pages holding their quiet wisdom without urgency, without demand, the way all true wisdom does. Simply available. For whoever is ready to receive it. You move toward the window. And you stand there for a moment, looking out at the courtyard. The fountain is still speaking its soft, endless language to the night. PLSH. 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 The moonlight has shifted while you were reading, moved across the garden in that slow, imperceptible way the moon moves, and now it falls differently across the stone path between the hedges, casting long, soft shadows that lie across the ground like sleeping things. The air that reaches you through the window is cool and clean. It carries the scent of rosemary. And something else beneath it, something older, the particular smell of stone that has absorbed the warmth of 1,000 days and now releases it slowly, patiently, into the night. You breathe it in. Deeply. And hold it for just a moment. Before letting it go. You think of something Marcus wrote. Something you read earlier that has stayed with you quietly, like a hand resting lightly on your shoulder. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. His own soul. You consider that not as a grand or complicated thing, but as something immediate, something available to you right now, in this moment, without travel or preparation or any special condition being met. A retreat that requires no packing, no planning, no permission from anyone. Simply a turning inward, a choosing to be, for a few moments, more interested in the quality of your inner weather than the noise of the outer one. And you realize you have been doing exactly that tonight, without even naming it, simply by slowing down, simply by sitting still, simply by allowing the quiet to be enough. You found it. That retreat, that stillness, that unhurried, undemanding place inside yourself where the lamp is always burning, and the fountain is always speaking, and there is always a chair waiting. The wool toga is warm around your shoulders. Your feet are cool and grounded against the stone floor of the study. The lamp burns its last steady gold beside the desk. And the night holds everything. The villa, the garden, the fountain, the scrolls, the journal, the wisdom written in careful, unhurried lines by a man who knew that the most important battle any of us will ever fight is the quiet one, the internal one, the one we wage not with swords, but with attention, with patience, with the daily, humble, genuinely heroic choice to meet our own minds with curiosity instead of fear, with kindness instead of judgment, with the willingness to begin again. Every single morning, no matter what yesterday looked like, you take one last breath of the rosemary air, cool and green and grounding, and you turn from the window, and you walk slowly back through the study, past the desk, past the lamp, past the shelves of scrolls that hold more lifetimes of thought than any one person could read in a single life. And you step back through the door, into the hallway, into the cool marble, into the soft amber light of the oil lamps in their alcoves, into the patient, silver quiet of the Roman night. You walk back through the hallway, slowly. There is no hurry now. There never was. But now you know it more completely than you did when you first arrived. It has moved from something you understood in your mind to something you feel in your body, in the easy swing of your arms, in the unhurried placement of each foot on the cool marble, in the simple, quiet fact that your breath is slow and your shoulders are low and the space behind your eyes feels clear. The columns move past you on either side, each one pale and patient in the moonlight, and you trail your fingertips along the inner wall as you walk, feeling the stone beneath your touch, cool and slightly rough and absolutely solid, the way certain things in life are solid, the way kindness is solid, the way honesty is solid, the way the decision to tend carefully to your own inner life, day after day, in small and unglamorous ways, build something that cannot easily be shaken. You think of Marcus again, not as an emperor, not as a historical figure behind glass in a museum of important names, but as a person, walking his own hallways in the dark, carrying his own weight, writing his own reminders in the quiet hours when the empire was asleep and it was just him and the lamp and the page and the ongoing, lifelong project of trying to be good, patient, present. And you feel, walking these same stones in the same deep hour of the same ancient night, a companionship that requires no explanation, a recognition that crosses every distance of time and circumstance. The simple, profound understanding that the inner life you are tending is the same inner life he was tending, that the questions you carry are the same questions, that the effort to meet each day with wisdom and steadiness and an open heart has always been the effort for everyone who has ever truly tried. The courtyard fountain reaches you one last time as you pass. PLSH. 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 And you pause beside the columns, and you look out at it. That small stone fountain in its moonlit garden. Still going. Still speaking. Still offering its soft, continuous sound to the night without asking anything in return. And you think, that is enough to do your small, steady thing in the place where you are, in the hour that has been given to you, without needing it to be grand, without needing it to be noticed, without needing it to be anything other than what it is. That is enough. You are enough, exactly as you are, in this moment, which is the only moment there has ever truly been. You walk on, past the last of the lamps, their flames burning low now, soft and amber and almost drowsy, past the last of the columns, past the threshold where the marble of the villa meets the cool night air of the world beyond. And you stop there for a moment, at the edge, feeling the air on your face, looking up at the sky above the Palatine Hill, where the stars are still and vast, and entirely indifferent to the small human worries that seemed, just a few hours ago, so large and so pressing and so impossible to put down. And yet, you put them down. Tonight, in that warm study, beside that steady lamp, with that quiet journal in your hands. You put them down. And you can do it again. Tomorrow. And the day after. And every time the weight becomes more than you need to carry, you can find your way back. To the stillness. To the lamp. To the fountain. To the quiet place inside yourself where Marcus left his words like a candle in a window, burning for anyone who needed to find their way home. So let your eyes grow heavy now. Let the last of the day's tension release from your jaw, your hands, the long muscles of your back. Let your breath slow to the rhythm of the fountain. PLSH. PLSH, PLSH. Let the cool marble and the warm lamp and the ancient, patient night hold you. You are safe. You are still. You are exactly where you need to be. And tomorrow will ask its questions. But tonight belongs entirely to rest. To the deep, unhurried, well-deserved rest of a mind that has done enough, thought enough, carried enough, and is now Finally, gently, beautifully, letting go. Good night. Sleep well. And thank you for journeying with us tonight. To the heart of ancient Rome. And to the quiet wisdom of a calm mind.